sponsor 啊，那么我们请他来这个同时呢，在这个地方呢如果说大家等一下有什么问题呢，他可以回答这个诸位啊。那么我想我首先呢，在这个交给这个 Dr. Roseman 之前呢，我先介绍一下Good morning, Dr. Roseman and Edward.
Good morning from Munich.
Well, we are very glad to have you be with us this morning. But before then, I would like to introduce both of you to our audience. First of all, Dr. Roseman. Dr. Roseman is the one sitting on my far right-hand side, 就是最右边的那位 Dr. Roseman 那么 Dr. Roseman 呢，他是一个我们讲的一般的这个医生那么他跟他的父亲两个通通都是我们所谓的 general practitioner 那么也就是说这个全科医生那么但是呢，他们两个人呢都共同的在接触到这个福尔电针之后呢，他们就投身到福尔这个医学上面来那么他们累积的经验呢，超过了差不多有接近100年的这个时间所以呢，他们是非常有经验的两位医生。那么同时呢，他们也经常的共同的探讨。那么这个 Edward Abram 呢，就是在我们这个荧幕最左边的这个非常英俊潇洒的年轻人。那么他呢，在目前来讲呢，是我们知道德国虽然做了很多的我们所谓的这个 EAV 的这个产品，但是真正讲起来，现在属于福尔电针的产品呢，只有这个 Kindling 的这个公司呢在生产。所以呢，当大家将来如果说你们真正有需要的时候呢，这个可以呢来跟他这个请益那么我想呢，我不要去耽搁大家太多的这个时间我就把这个讲座呢，这个就交给这个 Dr. Roseman. Well, without further delay and elaborate the introduction, Dr. Roseman, I will turn the podium to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be able to address you today. It is particularly important to me to introduce you to electroacupuncture according to Dr. Voll. My name is Dr. Alexander Rossmann. I'm a general practitioner from Germany. I have a medical office for alternative medicine in Munich. In this office, I've been using electroacupuncture according to Voll for decades. I learned the method from my father, Dr. Heinrich Rossmann. He already learned EHV from Dr. Voll in the 70s. Since that time, he has applied and developed EHV, and he made it known in many lecture tours all over the world. I would like to give you a brief overview of EHV. Electroacupuncture, according to Voll, developed in the 60s on the basis of Chinese acupuncture. At that time, a team of doctors led by Dr. Voll specialized in the scientific examination of acupuncture points. With specially adapted resistance measuring devices, it was found that the electrical skin resistance behaves differently at the acupuncture point than at the rest of the skin. It was found that these changes in measured values correlate with the clinical symptoms of the associated meridian. For example, in chronic inflammation of the colon, conspicuous values were found at the acupuncture points of the meridian of the large intestines. In the case of lung disease, abnormal values were found at the point of the lung meridian. A special achievement of Dr. Voll was the discovery of further points that did not belong to the classical Chinese acupuncture points. Dr. Voll was able to arrange these newly discovered points according to specially defined organ systems. He called these newly discovered rows of dots not meridians, but vessels. For example, there is the very important lymphatic vessel. At the points of the lymphatic vessel, one can measure especially the burdens in the area of the teeth, the tonsils, and the neck. Another example is the allergy vessel. Here can be tested particularly well a material load of the whole organism. As a result of his research, Dr. Voll was able to define over 1,000 measuring points for electroacupuncture. Another milestone for electroacupuncture was the following discovery. A conspicuous measuring point not only shows a burden on the corresponding organ system, but it could also be influenced with medicine. With drugs, measuring that compensate intake, these drugs can be used for the therapy of the patient. And the special feature of this method is that the drug only has to be held up to the electrical circuit of the measuring device. The drug can therefore be tested for its effectiveness even before administration. Herbal remedies, mineral preparations, trace elements, homeopathic remedies, and nosodes proved to be effective medicines. Here, too, the drug treasure quickly grew to several 1,000 preparations. What has been told so far also shows the problem of electroacupuncture. First, there are a variety of points that can be measured, but there are also a variety of medications. No therapists can keep track of these and use all points and all medications. If, for example, you were to measure about 600 points, some EHV doctors did this already, then you would already be busy for over 1 hour just doing this. So it was a task of other EHV users to select points and medications here. So-called system profiles were created. These system profiles contain a certain number of points, which on the one hand have to be tested in a good time frame, and on the other hand represent the functions of the human body representatively. With regard to these points, drugs listed were the developed with which the individual points could be treated. A great help in dealing with these EHV problems was the development of computer technology in the 80s. I am proud to say that my father pioneered the development of 120 measurement profile and the programming of the first EHV software. This software is called Homopath and has been constantly developed since the 80s until today. It is used by well-known EHV therapists. With this software, it was also possible to create the frequency lists for the points by remembering when which drug was tested for good at which point. Thus, the frequency lists were created according to the motto, what is frequent, and what is rare is rare. This principle is also particularly important in the electroacupuncture according to Fall. Another advantage of the software is that almost all homeopathic remedies, and here I would like to mention the nosodes in particular, are integrated in digital form in the Homopath data. I use computer program every session, which works together with the Kindling measurements device without any problems. How do I proceed in my office? After the anamnesis, a system status is created. This includes 120 measuring points for me. These are located on the hands and feet and on the head. So they are easy accessible. It takes me about 12 minutes to test all of these points. The advantage of using a system status is that you know them very well by testing the same points over and over again. I occasionally observe that when testing one and the same point, I always have the same hand position, no matter which patient. This results in a high degree of measurement reliability. This is also necessary if you want to validly observe a change in the course of the pointer during the medication test. A constant system status also makes it possible to demonstrate therapeutic progress to the patient. Here we have developed the so-called index in our program. The index is a number between 0 and almost 300. It is calculated from all burdened points. These burdened points are weighted by the software with a value of 0 to 3. Thus, a point with a large indicator drop of over 9 units gets a value of 9. We then call this a primary disorder. A degenerative value, as example, a pointer gradient that does not exceed 550 units gets a value of 2. And some other criteria are then also included in the index. The sum of all these variables then results in the index. An index of 0 to 15 describes a healthy person. Values of 15 to 40 describe a lightly loaded patient. Diseases start with a stress index of about 40 to 70. Serious diseases higher, patient above 100 usually has a chronic disease. The highest index in my career was over 270. This was a patient with a psoriatic arthritis, obesity, cardiac heart disease, diabetes, and a severe feeling of illness. For the patient, it is very edifying when he sees that in a follow-up test, the index is lower. After the system status, the medication test follows in my office. For this, we had an extensive ampulle collection, which we used classically in the way Dr. Fall used it. However, we also use digitalized remedies. The aim of every medication test is to compensate for the course of the pointer to a curve that slowly approaches the value 50 from below and then remains stable. We achieve this by treating each point with a nosode, with a homeopathic remedy, and with an organic preparation. On average, I have about 5 primary disorders in a moderately stressed patient. In this patient, I find with a system state of 120 measured points with an indicator drop of over 9 units. All these 5 points are compensated with medication. In the end, about 20 drugs come together, which are used for a medical EHV treatment. These are then prescribed as ampulle preparation for self-injection or imprinted to a suitable medium. In total, I need about a whole EHV testing. The medical treatment takes for my patient about 10 weeks. During this time, the patient must take the medication continuously. It can come during this time to a first aggravation. If this is too severe, the basic symptoms worsen so that the patient suffers, then the cure must be reduced in its dose. Experience has shown that an improvement in symptoms occurs over a few weeks of therapy. After the therapy, a patient needs about 4 to 6 weeks without therapy. In this case, the basic regulation of the patient should again take over the direction itself without drug influence. Only then do I do a follow-up test depending on the patient's symptoms. However, I would now like to point out further therapeutic possibilities with the EHV. Relaxation oscillation therapy is important. In this case, the progression of a point is influenced by means of rising and falling oscillation. So it is possible to get a pointer progression which goes up to 90 with a degrading oscillation to 50. With this technique, it is not necessary to create a system status. One is guided by the diagnosis and the symptoms of the patient. In the case of heart problems, the points are measured on the cardiac meridian. If an increased value is found, it is immediately treated with degrading tilting vibrations. With this technique, you can compensate for most points in 20 to 30 minutes. However, you should then call the patient weekly and treat him until the symptoms improve permanently, or I no longer have a noticeable indicator drop. My father, a passionate EHV doctor, is currently 88 years old. He treats himself weekly, either with tilting vibrations and occasionally only with nosodes. Only if he has something more severe, then he comes to me and I can test him. I also do then 120-point system status. But my father manages to get his age-related illnesses, but also some individual ones, under control through these regular tests so that he feels comfortable and is stable in terms of illness. Last but not least, I would like to mention the light therapy. It is now possible to apply the remedy information by means of light modulation modified by drugs. An application here would be the 2 times weekly medication application of an EHV cure by means of such a light device as the company Kindling has in its program, so far as I know. So this was a brief overview of my work with electroacupuncture according to Voll. Finally, I would like to thank my father once again, who passed on all his knowledge about the EHV to me. Through him, I became an accomplished EHV therapist. Thank you very much for that. And I want to thank you very much for listening to me and for allowing me to speak to you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roseman. Do you accept questions?
Or we can get questions.
Yes. 诸位，这个刚刚听到他在这个分享啊，他在做这个 EAV 的这个经验啊。那么我不晓得大家有没有什么问题？同时呢，在这个做这个 EAV 的治疗的这个过程呢，基本上来讲呢，它并不是这个一口气就是这个一直帮你做到最后，你完全这个舒缓了。那么他刚刚讲了，他做到一半的时候呢，他会这个采取一个途径啊，让你自己有几个礼拜的时间呢的这个不要用药，让你的身体呢去跟他在前面所做的这个治疗中间呢的这个反应啊，那么然后呢，他再开始呢去用药。那么至于他最后讲到说现在呢用的这个所谓的这个光疗啊，那么现在呢大家都知道在德国呢他们做很多的这个共振的治疗，那么这个共振的治疗中间呢最重要的呢就是以光的这个频率呢来跟患者呢来共振啊，那么这是呢他的这个过去呢所做的这些方法。那么他刚刚也讲到，他非常感谢他的父亲啊，从这个 Dr. Vo 那个地方呢，直接跟随着 Dr. Vo 呢学习了这个 EAV 的这一套这个技术啊。那么他们呢当然各自呢都创造了很多新的这个治疗的这个方式啊。那么包括呢发现这个我们讲的这个穴道点，那么像他自己呢他用到的穴道点呢有超过1000个穴道点。那么你们大家都知道 Dr. Wu 呢他在做当时这个推广 EAV 的时候呢不过就是800多个穴道点，但是呢他有做到1000多个这个点。那么当然我想呢我们在台湾因为从事这一方面工作的人呢这个懂得我们这个古典的这个经络学说的人呢并不是那么多，那么懂得古典经络的人他未必呢愿意呢去学习这个EAV，所以呢我们在这个一般新的医生呢他在学习 EAV 的时候呢，他没有这个功夫，也没有那个经验呢，去真正的去像发掘伏尔辩证他所做的这些过去的他的用的这些点。 当然我们也就无从呢去找出更多这个相关的这个点啊。这是呢他们在德国呢做的最大的这个跟我们现在一般学习 EAV 啊最大不同的这个地方。那么我不晓得在座有没有大家有什么问题想要借镜呢？就近来问问他。那么你们如果有问题呢，这是一个非常好的机会，就不要客气。好，你们有没有人有问题呢？
它有关这个颜色，它打到水中产生疗效，这个光是用水做来比，而不是打到穴位。
是，是
这方面得问一下。
这个好，我想呢，当然以我自己的经验的话是可行的因为水就是一个载体，我们要给它这个光线，这个你要透过光直接打到病人的身上也是一种方法，透过水的转换也是另外一种方法。不过我们来问问他好不好？Dr. Roseman, one of our audience would like to ask you, when you actually try to use light therapy, is it possible that you can actually transfer the frequency of the light into water instead of apply the light to the patient directly?
Here I do not have very much experience dealing with the light therapy, but from the standpoint of thinking and dealing with bioresonance, I think it is also possible to do both. You can use the light to influence the water, but I think you can also use the light by influencing the human body, because the human body consists mainly of water, and so you can influence it, I think, both ways.
OK， 他说是同样的我们这个共同的这个想法最主要呢就是我们人的身体呢含有超过70%的水分，所以呢其实你打到身体上跟直接的跟打到借助水再来转换其实是一样的，好吗 ？OK， 还有没有其他的问题？为什么这么这个沉默？有问题的赶紧问有没有人想对这个仪器本身有什么问题的？像比如说你们不只是光是用仪器或者是说对这个仪器这个是不是过去学习使用的正不正确什么也都可以问的。I asked the audience whether there's any questions on the use of EAV product. Most of them actually have had experience of using EAV, but the way that they've been taught how to use EAV might not be exactly the right way or the correct way. So they can take the advantage of this time to us, since we have Edward be with us this afternoon too. 你们有没有问题没有，像这个汗蒸什么这个重量什么这个胃痛什么你们都没有问题吗 ？OK。目前我们常用的我刚跟那个大哥讲说，现在已经用到1000多个。那最常用的就是有没有 Okay. Dr. Roseman, you mentioned about that you have used around 1,000 acupuncture points on your investigation. One of the audience asked whether there are some points that most frequently that you use with all your patients.
Yes, I do not use 1,000 electroacupuncture points. I just said Dr. Fall discovered more than, and this is a very to find out about the of us. I use 120 points. These 120 points have to give you a general overview over the functions of the body. These 120 points must be easy accessible, yes, are located on hands and feet and on the head. And they also have to be measured in a reasonable time. As I told you, I need about 12-13 minutes to measure all these points. And this is also important because you do not want to deal too long with the patient. It has to be a short time. As I told you, I'm together with the patient for 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours. And this is also a very long time. And not only the doctor is exhausted after this time, but also the patient is exhausted. So we have to limit this. And another important case is I'm a general practitioner. I do not only have a patient with a disease in one area like the dentist has. The dentist just deals with the teeth, and so he has to measure the points concerning the teeth. I'm, as a general practitioner here, want to have an overview. What makes the inner organs? What makes the heart? What makes the lymphatic systems? What makes the allergic system? Yes, I want to find all out this. And so the 120 point system profile has to include all these areas of the human body. Yes, and then I can treat the patient well. And this is expected every time.
Maybe I would like to add just one thing. Those 120 points that's asked, they are more of the homeopath software. So in the homeopath software, exactly those 120 points are stored, so and can be used.
OK， 他讲实际上呢，虽然这个 Dr. Vo 一起都发现了有1000多个点，但是呢，他经常用的大概不会超过120个点。那么最主要的考量呢，不是说我这个有没有时间去量这么多，是因为病人呢，第一个他也可能会这个会感觉到说你花太长的时间，同时呢，他也要考虑到他自己本身的这个体力能不能负荷啊，所以他基本上来讲呢，他对于这个检查呢，大概多半都是在120个点。那么这里头呢，就是我们大家平常都知道的，包括一些淋巴啦，这个主要的我们的这个经络的一些重要的这些点，那么他会去量它，那么然后呢，他这个去取得了这个相当的 这个结果以后呢，来给他定制出他要治疗的一个这个过程。那么他的平常量的时间呢，大概一个人呢，他要花费大概12分钟左右的这个时间，但是呢，他在诊治整个病人的时间呢，差不多总共呢要1个半钟头到2个钟头，所以你们可以晓得他在这个做的这个中间呢，他也是要考虑的相当长的时间，而不是光是动手就帮你量一量或者比一比啊。那这是他们的这个作业的方法。那么这个刚刚那个我们这个 Edward 呢，他来补充说明呢，就是说这些点呢，大部分都是跟我们的这个顺势疗法一些这个疾病有关的这些点呢，他们会去量这些这个点，到底那些点，比如说我们讲的这个过敏点啊，或者是器官病变啊，或者是哪个器官主要出了问题呢？那么大部分呢都是跟那些顺势疗法的制剂一起呢并同来量。那么假定顺势疗法并这个制剂在这个疾病的项目之中是比较多的这个项目呢，它可能呢这个量的点呢也许就少一点大概他们做的是这样的方式，好不好？还有问题吗？哎，请讲。对不起，你因为这个距离是太远了，我听得不是很清楚。你讲的是说另外一个空间吗？
就是我们可以透过仪器把讯打进去。那因为今天那个方校长有说，你可以透过另外的空间再把讯丢出去。那如果这2个部分做结合，再操作一些从另外的空间把讯透过仪器丢进去，这个方式是可行的，或者是效果会比较好。就是远距离的。是远距离的，对，这是2个。就是可能那个人他是用另外的空间把讯息透过仪器这样吧，因为仪器可以丢讯息。量测。哦，对，我讲错问题了，不好意思。
不过呢，我可以给您一个答复可不可以这样？可以。透过了这个我们这个 EAV 的这个进一步发展的这些辅助设备是有这种装置可以这样做，不是不可以。只是呢，这个装置呢并不是说我们简单的 EAV 这个 product 它能够这样子这个应用。你讲到的，就是说我们在这个整个的世界，我们的周遭，所有你的信息，你只要能够透过一个这个设备，能够把这个信息传到这个 EAV 的产品，这个产品上，那这个制品上，它其实呢都可以来做这件事
谢谢您。
不是一个单纯的这个仪器，所以我们假定讲说，单纯的一个 EAV， 当然它不能做，但是呢，它有很多的辅助的设备它就可以。比如说在 Kindling 呢，它就有我们讲的一个叫做 Retect 的这个设备那么它就可以呢，把这个你讲到的这些信息从另外一个这个 terminal 呢传输连接到 EAV 这个产品上去 好不好 ？OK， 有没有其他的相这个观点？请讲。
请问那个试剂如果装在不同材质的瓶子里面，比如说我们刚刚玻璃的，如果装在铁的或者是塑胶的瓶子里面，对效果是不是有所影响
？Okay. One question from the audience is that if the remedy normally you use glassware to hold those remedies, but if you use the different material of the containers, would that affect the use of these remedies? Like for instance, if you use steel cubes, would that actually make a difference with glass cubes?
I think yes, it will affect. I think it's important to use the remedies just in special glass tubes, and I think even the color will affect it. So if you have clear white glass, and this will be the best container for the remedies. And if we make the bioresonance on another medium, we have a brown glass, but I think this also works for the treatment. But I would not use plastic or aluminum or stuff like this.
他说是会影响的啊。那么通常他们来用呢，多半都是用玻璃的这个瓶子来装这些制剂。那至于说用白的这个玻璃、透明的玻璃，或者是那个咖啡色的那个玻璃的瓶子有没有太大的差别？他的经验是这个可以来用，不会有太大的差别。至于其他的材质，不管是铝的、铁的，它都不能用。OK， 还有没有？哎，请讲。对，我看的这个设备它里面有一些毛手这些物质性的东西发展的通过这个设备，它的原理不能少。就说这个里面它建立了remedy 的一个物质。那么它一定有一个原物质它会某种东西把它转换到在这里去所以当我们真正的获得到这个好的真的时候，它需要可以再传导然后再做这个所以它的这个键可以把这些的 nozzle remedy 把它引导到Okay. The question regarding to the product itself, in a EAV product, some with the systems that has connected or installed with some virtual medicines, and how actually what is the mechanism when you try to use the electronic medicine that you have in the system, in the software, and you want to transfer that into medias like water or pellet, what is the mechanism that can assure that you are 100% sure that the information that you transfer is actually correct?
To examine the correct transformation of a homeopathic remedy can only be realized by testing it. So here in my office, I have the so-called Retec 2000 system. This is also made by Kindling. And with this machine, I can transform the digitalized remedies in a glass ampoule filled with a salt water. And to check if this remedy really made a transformation. You use the ampoule to find out if it deletes the indicator drop in testing. And if you can change or if you can change the indicator drop by the digitalized remedy, and if you can change the remedy by the ampoule which you just made, then you can be sure that the transformation of the remedy worked with the retake system.
Okay, what is the mechanism of this transformation?
TK, just from the hardware side, we have also some safety parts inside. So when you start to transfer from the computer, so from the homopath, towards the hardware, there's the interface in between. And that interface has indicators if it gets the signal, and if the signal really receives the hardware, the EAV or the bioresonance device. That's the electrical part where we can check, is the signal there? Is it transferred or not? Okay. And from the technical part, it works with the ideas behind the electronic magnetic field.
基本上来讲啊。
So we
okay, go on.
Yeah, so we work the bioresonance devices work with the idea of electronic magnetic fields to transfer the information, to imprint the information to the ampules or sugar balls or something like that.
他们并没有真正的太清楚的解释啊，它的这个转换的这个机转到底怎么回事？但是呢，他们都会去做，就是每一次转换了以后呢，他先用仪器去测试，是不是有这个改变啊？如果没有改变，那就表示到说他转的没有转成功，那他也没有去这个了解到说，你到底这个转是怎么机转的？那么我刚刚也讲到，像 Kindling 啊，它有那个 retake 2000的这个机器啊，它就可以有这样子的功能去转换这些信息，从 A 到 B 啊。那么那至于说这个 A 到 B 怎么转换，这个中间的这个 interface 这个过程啊怎么去这个换呢？他没有告诉我。我想今天李校长在谈这个顺势疗法的时候呢，其实他也讲到，这到目前来讲仍旧是一个谜我们只知道它 work， 但是怎么 work， 谁也说不清楚。OK， 是怎么样？还有问题吗？请讲。
我们最近试了一个，就是听不同的音乐会一个人的影响在这个过程中间，我们用谢点来跟着他的那个发现它是有改变的他们有相同的心电动，但是个案在听不同的音乐的时候，对他身体各器官有影响的这样的心电感。
OK， 好。The question is that do you have the experience when we actually have tried to test with patients using different type of music, audio, therapies, and we use the EAV product, EAV, to measure the the efficacies or effectiveness of this treatment. We get some figures, and the question is, do you have the same experience in your case over in Germany that do the same way too?
So I didn't understand. Do you use music as therapy in electroacupuncture?
Yes.
Sorry. So I just have experience with the homeopathic remedies and with the nosodes and with the vitamins and minerals. I never tried to use music, but it would be interesting to examine this. So you are a little bit further with this. I don't know if music affects the acupuncture point.
Okay, thanks. 他没有用音疗来做这个检查的这样的工作，是不是对病人有影响啊？他还是停留在这个我们所说的这个传统的 EAV 的，就比如说用药啊、用食物啊、用这个保健品啊来做。哦，是，对，他没有做这个。Okay. Yes, over in here, we have actually quite a few music therapists, and we use different type of music, and whether it's a different type of tune or different type of composers, we use that and try to see the effect of those music, whether they have some effect that they can help the patient or not. Perhaps we can share that with you in the future.
Yes, this will be very interesting.
Good. Okay. 好，还有没有其他问题啊？
我们现在做了一个这样的一个实际的报告啊，就是我们欧洲化的用风啊，那个用生物的这个 device， 去在喝的水用这个发现它的一个行道具啊，这个是蛮不错。待会如果我们有一个比较就是就刚好跟大家做分享。
Okay, we have another experience. Try to test one of the water that very recently invented and created in Taiwan. And with that water, actually, if you see, this is the water that they trying to test that. And they use this water, and they find that actually it works on entirely different, treatment result from various person. Perhaps we can actually show you our experience with this water, test result as well. 哎，怎么你把它通通都弄掉了？
Yes.
So, do you have the experience using just plain water? You can find out that actually that water works with a different type of person at different time.
By doing electroacupuncture, we deal with the regulatory system of the human body. Mm-hmm. And the influences on this regulatory system of the human body is it's wide. Many influences can take place here, and even the specialized water you have can influence the regulatory system. The interesting thing in electroacupuncture is that we can measure here, that we can measure the human body and get a feedback from the regulatory system. And if you use music, if you use different water, if you use just other things like light therapy, you can see that it influences the regulatory system of the human body. And this is just the basis of a widespread era. And I think much research has to be done to know more about these things.
Okay. Yes. 他只能了解这个但是呢，他认为说，你这个水用来这个治疗病人，可能你要想得到确切的这个结果，你可能要多做一点实验。对。所以你不是单纯的做几个实验，因为我们的身体的这个所有的器官呢，它对水的这个反应可能随时都会有所改变，所以你必须要做足够的实验呢，才能够得到一个你真正的这个最后的结果。
我们就是这个分享
是，好不好？
有我们报告的我们用那个 bioenergy 那个 device 那么来评估S1 water 的一个初步的一个结果那我们就是用这一个我们的一个设备这样的一个设备那设备的话，我们用 S1 water 的 NMR 是也是41 Hz。
The water they use is called S1 water, and they test with different methods, and they find actually the effect of this water on different persons does have different results. So they will like if you don't mind to send some of their test results to share with you and to let you see how this water is different from the others, and even perhaps in future if they can, they would like to send some of this water to you to do some tests by yourselves too.
记住
可以吧？你们可以寄水给他们，让他来试。
very good。德国。对。带水飞过去，而且这个水它的 ORP station 那个 ORP
你这个传给他。
有，然后是134然后 pH 是9.2嘛
把它整理好。
very good，
好不好？
这次所有认证那我们的报告上面来看的话，到目前350个人，那我的统计做出来就是157。
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
By my curiosity, what is it a carrier medium to carry the?
No, it doesn't
like
carry anything.
Ampules, or just is it a therapy water which we sold as a therapy product, or as a treatment product?
It's a therapeutic water. It doesn't contain any specific materials, just water itself. But the water actually is used through a special process. It has a very high energy.
Okay.
请杨老师也许可以。
Did you think about to use this kind of water as a carrier for imprinting the remedies from homeopath or something else?
It can be. Actually, we find that the result is better than the conventional water.
而且我们是用水，
对，
不是用酒精，是这样的一个情况，可以，
当然是可以。
就是我们用水来做成那个 homeopathy 的一个 remedy， 来做一个 natural 一个 frequency 的 treatment。
你把这个水带去给他，送给他，
对，然后
让他来试。因
为那我们之前跟之后，现在目前来看统计的一个分析在之前测神经跟循环，那么157个人这个里面的话，大概从20几，然后到正常值一个 positive energy 的 frequency 的话，应该是50。那到目前为止的话，它到49点多神经neural and circulation acupuncture 啊，这个部分的话，到19点多，几乎喝了水100cc 之后的话，它马上就提升。Yes，
OK，
yeah， 对不对
？Yeah， 好，还有没有其他问题？
还有没有什么问题？
Okay, we don't have any more questions. Thank you very much, Dr. Roseman and Edward. Thank you for your participation and your kindness of sharing your experience to us. We like to keep in touch with you and perhaps not only just to go visit with you and talk to you, we may want to sometimes be able to share some of our findings with you as well. Thank you. And have a nice weekend. And we wish you good luck and happiness too.
Yes. See you.
Thank you too to talk to you. And I look very forward to get your information and your scientific research, what you do with electroacupuncture.
Okay, thank you. 好，谢谢大家。
谢谢大家这睡前是非常好啊。
OK，
Goodbye。
谢谢周董。
没有，客气。
Thank you. OK。
好，那你把这个接起来。
好，我把它接起来。
OK。
那想